السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. في هذا الشابتر in this chapter we will talk about the present worth analysis. لما بنيجي نحكي عن making any venture, whether it's a new venture or expansion or replacement, we need to consider the economics of this venture and to decide if this venture is acceptable from economical point of view or not. لما احنا بدنا نعمل اي استثمار سواء a new venture going to do any investment, whether it's a new venture يعني بدي ابني مصنع جديد, building a new plant, building a new production line, introducing a new product, او ممكن يكون عندي الانفستمنت على شكل replacement investment. I have an equipment, I want to replace it with another equipment, or for example buying a new equipment. Okay, كل هاي الحالات بلزمني اني اقرر اني اعمل investment او ما اعمل investment from economical point of view. I need to decide whether to go with this investment or not from economical point of view. فعشان هيك احنا بنبدا نعمل خلينا نسميها screening of projects او screening between screening of the alternatives. لانه انا في الوضع العادي ممكن انا ما يكون عندي one simple choice او خيار واحد او خيارين, ممكن يكون عندي multiple choices. I want to replace an equipment, can I replace it with equipment of type A, B or C? I want to buy a new equipment, should I buy equipment supplied from company X, Y, Z? انا بدي اعمل new venture, استثمار جديد. Shall I go with this investment or this investment or this investment? مثلا انا بدي اعمل مطعم, I want to have a restaurant, اعمل مطعم بسيط كشك وابيع فيه سندويشات, ولا I have to go for example for a traditional food restaurant, مطعم بقدم اكل تقليدي, or shall I go with Italian restaurant, or is it going to be a fast food restaurant? Okay, for all of them are different investments. Each investment will have its cost and its revenue, راح يكون له تكلفته الخاصة وعائده الخاص فيه, different costs and different revenues. Then I need to decide from economical point of view which is the best investment I can go with. هذا الكلام بقودنا إلى الكرايتيريا, how I can decide أو how to decide which investment is the best. لأن لما نيجي بنحكي عن الكرايتيريا for screening أو criteria for choosing an investment, عادة احنا بنبدأ from the most general criteria. If the investment passes this criteria, then I will go deeper to investigate in deep or to decide or to go deeper in the feasibility study of economical analysis. ليش? Why? If I want to go deep in the analysis, I need more detailed data or more detailed information. فأنا بدل ما أتعب حالي وأعمل full economical analysis أو full feasibility study وفي الأخير يطلع عندي المشروع rejected أو غير مربح اقتصاديا, فالأفضل إني أبدأ from more general criteria. If it passes then I go deeper. If it doesn't pass, فيش داعي إني أوجع راسي وأعمل full detailed study أو full detailed أو detailed feasibility study, and from the beginning the project is rejected. من البداية أصل مرفوض, المشروع مرفوض, فما في داعي إني أعمل له full analysis. فنيجي our opening story. Colorado State University wants to invest $246 million in a new stadium expansion. بدهم يبنوا مشروع استاديوم مدرج رياضي جديد تكلفته 246 مليون. The goal from this investment is to attract better football players to win more games and to attract more out-of-state students. وكلاهما له أهداف اقتصادية. To attract more better football players will help them win more games. Winning more games means that they will get more prizes, money prizes. لأنهم إذا فازوا في المباريات راح يحصلوا على جوائز مالية. And having more out-of-state students, this means that they will get an increase in tuition revenue. الرسوم اللي حيدفعوها الطلاب راح تزيد, لأنه التمويل الحكومي للجامعة, the state fund for the university is going to decrease in the coming years, so they are looking for alternatives to compensate the shortfall in the state funding. Now, from economical point of view, is this investment economical or not? Would there be enough demand for the football tickets to justify the investment؟ هل الناس راح تقبل على شراء التذاكر لحتى يجوا يحضروا المباريات؟ رقم واحد, the first question. What would be the potential financial risk for this investment؟ قديش راح تكون المخاطرة؟ واحنا بنعرف كل investment, every investment has its own financial risk. What's the financial risk of this investment? And the last question, let's suppose that everything goes as planned and everything goes well, كل شيء بيصير زي ما بدهم وحسب ما هو مخطط له. How long does it take to recover the initial investment؟ نفترض انه كل شيء ماشي تمام ومفيش عندهم مشاكل والرزق قليل جدا. قديش يلزمهم لحتى يرجعوا ال 246 مليون؟ How does it going to take them to recover the 246 millions? هذا الكلام قبل before we start with this chapter. Any company wants to make an investment or a project have the relation between the company and the investment or the project is the same relation between a bank and a customer. The customer wants to take a loan, بده ياخذ قرض من البنك وراح يدفع القرض للبنك على دفعات. البنك will recover the loan plus interest. تمام؟ The same thing with the company. The company is like a bank and the project or the investment is like a customer. The company will give the money to the project and the project will generate what we call it revenue. تمام؟ And the project will repay the loan. Okay? plus ايش؟ plus interest. ليش plus interest؟ If the company wants to put this money in, let's say, in any investment in the bank or any investment, the company will expect a certain rate of return, a certain interest. لو الشركة هاي حطت الفلوس تبعتها في البنك حيعطيها فائدة. The bank will give it the company interest for the money deposited in the bank. So the same thing goes with the project. If the company is going to give the project money for investment, then the project should return the investment plus ايش الانترست. الآن and to be able to analyze any problem in this chapter, we need to construct what we call a net cash flow, اللي هو inflow, cash inflow minus cash outflow. In this example, we will see how to construct the net cash flow diagram from information given in a problem statement. XL Chemicals is a company that produces specialty chemicals, okay, and they are considering to install a computer process control system in one of its processing plants. This processing plant, 3,500 operating hours are used to produce a certain chemical, demulsification chemical, okay, and this plant, the annual production of this plant is 30,000 kilograms per year, and they sell the kilogram with $15, and the selling price is $15 per kilogram of the demulsification chemical. Now, the new process control system is expected to have a cost of $650,000. تكلفته على الشركة راح تكون $650,000. But it will provide the following benefits. First of all, the selling price of the 30,000 kilograms will increase by $2. Because the quality will improve and it will be of higher purity, so its selling price will increase by $2. The production rate or the production volume will increase by 4,000 kilograms. Okay, and it will be sold at $17. Now the number of operators will be reduced by 1 operator per shift, or in other words, they will save $25 per hour in the salaries of the operators. Is this control system worth investment or not, provided that it will cost them $53,000 maintenance per year? and its expected life is 8 years. Now from the statement of this question we will try to construct the net cash flow of this investment. First of all, we need to find the revenue. The revenue is coming from three sources. First of all, the higher purity will generate $2 per kilogram of the 30,000 kilos, and an extra of 4,000 kilograms that will be sold by $17 per kilogram, and the savings from one operator per shift. Okay, so first of all, revenue from the price increase, we will have 30,000 kilograms multiplied by $2 per kilogram plus 4,000 kilograms sold at a price of $17 per kilogram. So we will have $128 per year, $128,000 per year. Now we have annual savings in one operator per shift, which is 3,500 hours per year multiplied by $25 per hour. So we have savings of $78,500. So the net cash flow is the inflow minus the outflow. We have only the maintenance of the system is $53,000, so we will have a net cash flow of $162,500. If we are going to construct the net cash flow diagram, we will have the diagram as you can see it. First, we at n equals 0, we have the investment and الاستثمار that is $650,000 اللي هو ثمن البروسيس كنترول سيستم, the price of process control system. Then we have an annuity of $162,500. And as you can see, the cash inflow at n equals 0, we don't have any cash inflow, but we have an outflow of $650,000. At n equal 1, we have cash inflow of $215,500 اللي هي 128,000 plus 87,500, and we have outflow of $53,000. And the net cash flow is the summation of cash inflow minus cash outflow. And remember that the cash outflow have a negative sign, so this is minus $650,000. Now we come to the first criteria that we can do a project screening or investment screening. It is the payback period. Payback period, simply it is the time takes me to recover my initial investment. How long I have to wait before recovering my initial investment. How to calculate the payback period? Based on the cumulative cash flow. How to decide the screening guideline? If the payback period is less than or equal a specified benchmark, then the project is considered for further analysis. I'm not going to say the project is accepted or profitable, but I will consider this project for further analysis. The payback period is a very general criteria. We cannot use it to decide about it doesn't say anything about the profitability. ما بتحكي لي قديش المشروع مربح ولا لا، بس بتحكي لي انه انا بقدر استرد فلوسي بعد فترة معينة من الزمن. Weaknesses for simple payback period, it doesn't consider the time value of money. What's the payback period of the previous example? المثال اللي شفناه قبل شوي. What its payback period? This type of cash flow is a uniform cash flow. To calculate the payback period of a uniform cash flow, we use this formula. Payback period is the initial cost divided by the annual benefits. 650,000 divided by 162,500, which will give me a payback period of 4 years. This means that I can recover my initial investment after 4 years. If the cash flow is not a uniform cash flow, we construct the cumulative cash flow diagram. Autonumerics has bought a new spindle machine that cost $105,000. اشتروا ماشين جديدة تكلفتها $105,000 to replace an existing machine. The existing machine have a salvage value of $20,000. ايش يعني salvage value, or what we mean by salvage value? They are going to sell it as, let's say, as salvage or as used machine, and it will generate them, or it will give them a $20,000. The project annual savings by improved efficiency are as follows. So my net cash flow is as you can see it, and at n equals 0, the actual cost is not $105,000, because they paid $105,000, but they received $20,000 from selling the old machine. الاستثمار تبعهم مش 105,000، الاستثمار تبعهم 105,000 او ناقص 105,000 بلس $20,000. ال $20,000 هاي جايه من بيعهم للماشين اللي كانت موجوده عندهم، فدفعوا 105,000 لكن بنفس الوقت ايش اجاهم $20,000. So we are going to construct what we call it a cumulative cash flow. How we calculate the cumulative cash flow? At n equals 0, it's minus $80,000, minus $85,000. At n equal 1, my balance from the previous year is minus $85,000. But at n equal 1, I have an income of $15,000. So it's plus $15,000. The answer is minus 70. At n equal 2, I have a debt، يعني ممكن نسميها we can call it a debt، عندي دين مقداره ناقص 70,000 minus $70,000. But at n equal 2, I received $25,000 plus $25,000. The answer is minus 45. At n equal 3, I'm in debt of minus $45,000. أنا مديون $45,000، لكن أجاني إيش؟ دخل مقداره 35,000. I received $35,000. So the net is minus $10,000. And at n equal 4, the same, minus 10,000 plus $45,000, we will get the $35,000. When the net cash flow or cumulative cash flow changes its sign from negative to positive, this is where my payback period happens. So the payback period happens between years 3 and 4. The sign of the cumulative cash flow changes between years 3 and 4, so the payback period happens between years 3 and 4. And because of the end of period convention, we say that the payback period happens at the end of the 4th year. This is the diagram of our previous example, and where exactly the payback happens at 3.2 years. But because of the end period convention, we say that the payback period happens at the end of the 4th year. Now, since the simple payback period doesn't account for the time value of money, we will introduce what we call a discounted payback period. In this discounted payback period, راح ندخل the time value of money in our calculations. The principle is, how does it take to recover my initial investment and ايش the interest؟ قديش بلزمني لحتى ارجع الاستثمار تبعي زائد الانترست على هالاستثمار. How to do it, or the method, is by conducting what we call it accumulative discounted cash flow. مش not cumulative cash flow, accumulative discounted cash flow. Screening guideline, the same as simple payback period. If the discounted payback period is less or equal a certain benchmark, the project is considered for further analysis. The problem with, or the weakness with discounted payback period and also with simple payback period مشكلتهم الاثنين انه احنا ما بناخذ بعين الاعتبار الفترة اللي بتصير بعد الباي باك. يعني بس نرجع شوي we do not consider the periods after the payback time. إذا بنرجع just go back to our example. In our example we saw that the payback period happens at n equal 4, but the period after n equal 4 we do not consider it in the payback, so whether it's simple payback or it's counted payback. For example, what happens if the cash flows at n equal 5 and n equal 6 were negative? If they were negative overall, the project, the cumulative cash flow will be negative, so the project after n equal 4 is not profitable. After n equal 4, we are putting money in the project. We are not getting money out of the project. So the payback period, whether it is discounted or simple payback period, doesn't tell us anything about the periods after the payback. Let's see this example and how we solve or how we calculate the discounted payback period. We have the previous cash flow, okay, from the previous example, but now let's suppose that the interest rate is 15% when the payback period is going to happen. First of all, we need to construct the cumulative cash flow. How to construct the cumulative cash flow? By the simple calculation. At n equal 1. At n equal 1, I'm in debt of minus $85,000. أنا مديون بمبلغ مقداره $85,000. This is from the previous year at n equal 0. Okay? But since it's going to have interest, then at n equal 1, it's not going to stay minus $85,000. It will have an interest of 1 plus 0.15 to the power 1. This is the $85,000 plus interest for 1 year. Okay? So actually the debt, الدين اللي علي في نهاية السنة الأولى ما راح يكون 85,000، راح يكون 85,000 plus الانترست اللي عليه. Or more specifically is going to be $97,750. Okay? But at the end of n equal 1, I have received $15,000. So it's going to be plus $15,000. If I do the calculation, the answer is minus $82,750. This is at n equal 1, at the end of the first year. At the end of the second year, the debt, الدين اللي علي, minus $82,750, but it's going to have an interest of 15% for 1 year. So its value is going to be minus $82,750 multiplied by 1 plus 0.15 to the power 1. Okay? But at the end of the second year, I have received $25,000. So it's going to be plus $25,000 equals minus $70,163. At the end of n equal 3, we do the same calculations. Minus 70,163 multiplied by 1 plus 0.15 to the power 1. And at the end of the third year, I have received $35,000 plus $35,000 equals minus 45. And do the same calculation at n equal 4, we will get minus $7,540. At n equal 5, we do the same calculations and we will get minus plus $36,329. So we can see that the cumulative cash flow changes its sign between years 4 and 5. تغيرت إشارة الكيوميليتيف كاش فلو بين السنة الرابعة والخامسة. So the payback period happens between year 4 and year 5, and because of the end of period convention, we say that the payback period happens at the end of the 5th year. So in summary, payback period can be used for screening as screening tool and a measure of liquidity السيولة not profitability مش المربحية أو ربحية المشروع. To consider project profitability, we need to consider the term value of money over the entire life of the project. Okay? Or we need the discounted cash flow over the entire life of the project. This leads us to the second criteria, which this chapter is mainly about, the net present worth criterion. What we mean by net present worth criterion, we mean by net present worth criterion that we need to find the present value of this cash flow. This is what we call it the net present worth. Convert those transactions into a present worth at a certain interest rate. And our interest rate, we call it minimum attractive rate of return. We will come to the concept of minimum attractive rate of return in a few slides, but remember that company and investment is like bank and a customer. The bank will give the customer a loan at interest rate, and we call this interest rate I. The bank will give the money to the project at a certain interest rate, and we call it minimum attractive rate of return, MARR. The firm wishes to earn on its investment a certain interest at which the firm can always invest its money in the investment pool. This interest rate is often referred to minimum attractive rate of return, MARR. So what's required is to find the present worth at n equals 0, and how to decide, or the decision rule, if the present worth is greater than 0, the project is profitable, is accepted. If the present worth is negative, less than 0, then the project is not profitable, it is rejected. And if present worth equals 0, it is indifferent. It's not going to make me poorer, and it's not going to me richer. لا راح يخليني امتلك كمية اقل من الفلوس، ولا راح يزيد الفلوس اللي معي اذا كانت البريزنت worth equal 0. Example 5.4, for the investment cash flow associated with the computer process control, if the MARR is 15%, calculate the net present worth. This is a uniform cash flow, so we can apply the present worth of uniform cash flow. Note that the $650,000 is an investment, our cash outflow, so it's going to have a minus sign. And this is annuity. We can apply the uniform cash flow formulas. 162,500 multiplied by calculate B given A at 15% and 8 years. The answer is $79,190. So since it is positive, the project is accepted. Since present worth is greater than 0, then the project is acceptable. Another example, this is irregular cash flow. How to calculate the present worth of irregular cash flow? We need to treat each transaction as a single payment cash flow and find their present value. So the present value at 12% interest rate, note that the 76,000 is an investment, it's going to have a minus sign. The first cash flow, 35,560. Calculate B given F for 12% at 12% and 1 interest period. The second transaction, 37,360. Calculate B given F for at 12% at 2 interest periods, $31,850. Calculate B given F at 12% and the 3 interest periods. And the last transaction, calculate B given F at 12% and 4 years. The answer is $30,065. since present worth is greater than 0, then the project is acceptable. Project مقبول. Now let's consider what happens if the interest rate changes. This table gives us the interest table for the process control system at different interest rates. هذا الجدول بعطيني البريزنت ويرث لمثال البروسيس كنترول سيستم على interest rate مختلف او at different MARR. and we see that بنلاحظ انه كل ما زادت الانترست ريت او MARR البريزنت فاليو البريزنت ويرث ايش مالها decreases. as I increase the present worth ايش مالها decrease until we reach interest rate of 30%. If you can notice that at 30% the present worth equals 0. This is the break-even interest rate. ايش معناتها البريك even interest rate؟ I'm not losing money and at the same time I'm not getting money. أنا لا بربح ايش ولا بخسر. هاي هي مسميها break even interest rate. At interest rate greater than 30% the cash flow or the present worth is negative. Brackets means negative. هاي الأقواس معناها ايش؟ negative. على interest rate أكبر من 30% the present worth ايش مالها؟ becomes negative. And since the present worth is negative the investment is rejected. As long as the present worth is positive the project or the investment is acceptable or profitable. Now, what does this mean from business point of view? Remember that the MARR, minimum attractive rate of return, is similar to the interest. But who decides the MARR? Usually the company, الشركة هي اللي بتحدد its MARR. The company decides what its MARR. And how companies decide their MARR, there are several factors. You can refer to the textbook to see how companies decide what is the MARR. But basically it depends on the financial situation of the company. And the MARR, minimum attractive rate of return, changes from one year to another year. الشركة بتقدر تغير ال MARR من سنة إلى أخرى. ممكن السنة هاي the MARR is 10%. Next year السنة الجاية ممكن can be 15%. The year after can be 20%. The year after can be go back to 10%. تمام؟ ممكن يتغير خلال السنوات. فالآن ممكن if the company's MARR let's say for this project at this time is 40%. السنة هاي المينيمم attractive rate of return للشركة 40%. So this project is ايش ماله؟ rejected. But if in the second year, if the MARR of the company is 20%, then the project becomes profitable. And from business point of view, it is very important to choose the right time to do an investment. ممكن استثمار معين يكون خسران اليوم لكن بعد فترة معينة من الزمن تتغير الظروف يصير الاستثمار ايش ماله مربح. ممكن الاستثمار تبعي is profitable today but after X years بعد عدد معين من السنوات but after some years the project becomes ايش؟ unprofitable بصير غير مربح بسبب انه ال MARR تغير ال minimum attractive rate of return is changing. Now what we mean by a net present worth or what does it mean that the net present worth is $30,065 at the end of the project life. This will lead us to two concepts, the investment pool concept and the project balance concept. For the project balance concept, we will talk about it in more details when we come to the rate of return analysis. We will talk in detail about the project balance and how it's related to the rate of return of a project. For the investment pool concept, suppose that the company has $76,000. الشركة عندها $76,000. It can invest the money in two ways. Either it can put this in money, invest this money in a project, or leave the money in its investment pool and it will generate an interest of 12% annually كل سنة. What is the investment pool of the company? The investment pool company is where the money puts its money. المكان اللي بتحط الشركة فلوسها فيه. It can be a bank account, okay, or it consists of a bank account عند حساب في البنك, its investments in other companies, تمام, its own business, تمام, شركتها الخاصة فيها. هاي كلياتها consist what we call it investment pool. الشركة قاعدة تستثمر فلوسها في أماكن معينة. إلها مثلا حسابات في البنك، إلها استثماراتها في شركات أخرى، مشترية أسهم في شركات أخرى، أو داخلة في شركات or it has partnership with other companies and this will give it money. إلها مثلا مصانعها الخاصة فيها. مثلا في talk about مراعي company it's not only one company. شركة المراعي ليست شركة واحدة، شركة المراعي مجموعة شركات، وكل واحدة من المصانع هاي بتساهم تعطي income لشركة المراعي. نفس الاشي سابك is not one plant. سابك مش مصنع واحد، سابك تقريبا 100 plus plants، وكل واحد فيهم is earning money to سابك. كل واحد فيهم بدخل فلوس على سابك. هاي كلها احنا بنسمي all of it we call it an investment pool. ومجموعة الاستثمارات هاي generates a certain income at a certain interest rate. Let's say for our example it is 12%. هذا هي ال MARR للشركة اللي هي جاية نتيجة ايش؟ مجموعة هالاستثمارات اللي مستثمرة فيها الشركة. الآن the company has two options, whether to put the 76,000 in the project، يا أنا بتحطها 76,000 في المشروع، or it can put it ايش؟ in the investment pool. يا انها تحطها وين؟ في هالانفستمنت بول، والانفستمنت بول حتعطيها 12%. تمام؟ If you take option 1 and proceeds you from the project will be returned to the إذا الشركة اختارت انها تحط فلوسها في البروجكت، أي فلوس بيولدها هالبروجكت راح يرجعها وين؟ على هالانفستمنت بول. Okay? At interest rate of 12% until the end of the project. Okay? This is what happens for our project. Option A, if $76,000 were left in the investment pool for 4 years, it will generate $119,000. إذا تركتهم الشركة في الانفستمنت بول لمدة 4 سنوات. لكن if the company puts this investment in the project, okay, and the project generates this cash flow, so at the first year it will generate $49,000. At the second year it will generate $46,000. This is what we call it the project balance. Okay, how we calculate the project balance? From this formula. Okay, so at the end of the project life it will have generated $166,000, okay, for the company. But since he have to pay the interest, the investment plus the interest, so he's going to return to the company $119,000. This is the investment plus the interest. So then at the end of the project I will have $47,000. This is the net benefit of the investment. هاي هي الفائدة أو خلينا نسميه الربح الصافي من هذا البروجكت. The net profit of this project after it generated certain amount of money and repaid the investment plus the interest, I have an extra of $47,000. تمام. في نهاية المشروع بعد ما أنا رجعت الانفستمنت اللي هو ال 76,000 والانترست اللي عليه للشركة، أنا ضل معي إيش؟ أو البروجكت ضل معه إيش؟ 47,000 دولار. This what we call the investment pool concept, and it has a relation with the project balance concept. What's the project balance concept? For our previous example, if the company doesn't have any money for the project, it's going to borrow money from the bank. صح؟ إذا ما في عندها فلوس لحتى تمول هالمشروع، الشركة إيش مالها؟ راح تقترض فلوس من البنك, and let's suppose that's going to borrow the money at 12% interest rate. And the project have to pay the loan to the bank, okay, اللي هو to pay the loan أو investment to the bank plus the interest of 12%. Then the project balance is, as you can see it in this table or in equations, as n equal 1, I'm going to borrow $76,000, and by the end of year 1 it's going to have an interest of 12%. So the value of the loan, قيمة القرض عندي في نهاية السنة الأولى plus interest حتكون ناقص 76,000 multiplied by 1.12. But at the end of the first year I have received $35,000, or I repaid, أنا دفعت للبنك 35,560 دولار. So my loan is going to be minus $49,000. بعد ما أنا دفعت للبنك 35,000 اللي تبقى من القرض 49,560. At the end of the second year this amount of money will compound for one interest period for 1 year. So the amount of the loan is, كمية القرض راح تكون عندي 49,560 multiplied by 1 plus 0.12. But I received or repaid $37,000. أنا دفعت للبنك 37,000. So the net amount or the loan المتبقي علي is minus 18,000. At the end of the third year it's going to compound for one interest period, and I repaid $31,000. So the amount of the loan remaining is plus 11,525. If you, as you can see, the net present or the project balance is becoming now positive. صار الآن موجب. إيش معناته صار موجب؟ أنا دفعت القرض اللي علي بلس الانترست وزاد معي 11,000. I repaid the loan, the investment, which is 76,000 plus the interest, and I have an extra of $11,000. وعندي زيادة إيش هم 11,000 دولار. At the end of the fourth year, this 11,000 will compound for one interest period, okay? And I have received an extra of $34,000. So this minus is by mistake. I will have an extra of $47,000. حيكون أنا عندي زيادة 47,000 دولار زيادة في حسابي. This is the concept of project balance. Let's see this problem. Electrical motor rated at 15 horsepower needs to be purchased for $1,000. The service life of the motor known to be 10 years with negligible salvage value. Its full load efficiency is 85%. The cost of energy is $0.08 per kilowatt. The intended use of the motor is 4,000 hours per year. Find the total present worth cost, okay, and concentrate on the worth cost of owning and operating the motor at 10% interest rate. We are going to calculate the present worth, but in this case the present worth is going to be in the negative, and therefore we call it present worth cost. First of all, we need to convert the horsepower to kilowatt. Okay, so the rating of the motor electrical power generator is 11 kilowatts. Now, since the efficiency is 85%, So the actual power I have to put in the electrical motor or its electricity consumption is going to be the output power divided by the efficiency 0.85. So the actual power input into the electrical motor is 13 kilowatts. Now the total power required is 13 kilowatts multiplied by 4,000 hours per year. So it's going to operate for 52, or the total power consumption will be 52,638 kilowatts per year. The cost, the power cost, multiplied by the cost of 1 kilowatt is going to be 4,000 dollars, $4,211. This is the power cost. The annual power cost of the electrical motor. And it's going to be uniform over the project life. So I need to calculate the present worth, or in this time, since the project is a cost project or investment project, we are going to calculate present worth cost is minus 1,000, okay, minus 4,211. Calculate B given A for 10 years, for at 10% and 10 years, and it's going to be $26,875. If I'm going to use it present worth as it is, present worth, I have to put the minus sign. If I use present worth cost at 10%, I would remove the minus sign, and it's going to be $875. So using the word cost is equivalent to the minus sign. The other variation of the present worth is the future worth criterion. شفنا قبل شوي أنا بحسب the present worth and decide if the project is acceptable or not. And also I can calculate the future worth, and I can decide if the project is acceptable or not. Given a cash flow and MARR, I need to calculate the future worth at any point in time other than n equals 0. I can calculate it at n equal 1, 2, 3, or 4, but usually we calculate it at the end of the project life. عادة نقدر نحسبها عند أي سنة other than n equal 0 باستثناء n equal 0، وعادة احنا ايش بنحسبها at the end of the project life. Criteria أو decision rule: إذا كانت future worth greater than 0 acceptable, less than 0 or negative it is rejected, equal 0 indifferent. لا راح يخليني أغنى ولا راح يخليني أكثر غنى ولا راح يخليني أكثر فقرا. تمام؟ Our previous example, we need to calculate the future value. The future value is $47,000, or in the equations is, we can calculate it as follows. Since we have calculated the present worth, we can convert this present worth to a future worth. Or we can calculate it based on the net cash flow. Minus 76,000, remember it's minus because it's investment. Calculate F given B at 12% and 4 years. I need to compound it for 4 years. The next cash flow, calculate F given B at 12% and 3 years. Then 37,000, calculate F given B 12% 2 years. And $31,850, calculate F given B 12% and 1 year. And the last transaction is the same, because it happens at n equal 4. There is no compounding for this transaction. ما راح أضرب في أي شيء يعني. So the answer is going to be $47,434. And if you notice, this future worth is the same as project balance at n equal 4. We will also discuss this when we come to rate of return analysis. Example 5.6. Higgins Corporation. They are manufacturing robots. شركة بتصنع روبوتات. They have developed a new technology robot called HelpMate. طوروا روبوت جديد اسمه HelpMate. هذا الهيلبميت مينلي راح يستخدموه في المستشفيات لحتى يعطي الأدوية والغذاء للمرضى في المستشفى، وراح يعني يساعد المستشفى انها تستغني عن جزء من النيرسينج ستاف. تمام. It has advanced technology as vision systems, tactile sensing, voice recognition system إلى آخره. The firm would need a new plant. لحتى يصنعوا الهيلبميت they need to build a new plant to manufacture HelpMate. It could be built in 2 years. This plant could be built in 2 years. The land will be purchased at $1.5 million at year equal 0, at n equal 0. The construction would begin in year 1 and continue through year 2. بناء المصنع راح يتم بعد شراء الأرض في السنة الأولى، وحيستمر إيش إلى نهاية السنة الثانية. The cost of the building is estimated to be $10 million. تكلفة البناء راح تكون 10 ملايين دولار. With a 4 million payment due to the contractor at year 1 and the remaining 6 million at the end of year 2. ال 10 ملايين هاي حيدفعوا منها 4 ملايين مع نهاية السنة الأولى and the other 6 million at the end of year 2. الآن the manufacturing equipment will be installed in year 2 and will be paid at the end of year 2 and it will cost $13 million. المعدات راح يركبوها في السنة الثانية وراح تكلفهم 13 مليون. 13 مليون هاي راح يدفعوها في نهاية السنة الثانية. They will pay the 13 million at the end of the second year. Now, when the project terminates, it is expected to have a market value or salvage value of $2 million. Okay, the building, طبعا this is for the land. The building will have a salvage value after tax of $3 million and the equipment will have a value of $3 million. يعني راح يبيعوا الأرض, they will sell the land for $2 million and the building, they will sell the building for $3 million and they will sell the equipment for $3 million. This is at the end of the project life. The production will start at n equal 3, okay? And it is estimated life is 6 years. عمر المشروع, the project life is 6 years. We need to calculate equivalent worth at the start of a production. يعني بدي أحسب equivalent worth لهالمشروع at n equal 3 at MARR of 15%. And this table summarizes all the transactions of this project. At n equal 0, they will buy the land for 1.5 million. At the end of the first year, they will pay 4 million for the contractor. At the end of year 2, they will pay the remaining 6 million for the contractor, and they will pay the price and installation of the equipment, and then the project will generate them this revenue for 6 years. And notice that the revenue is generated at n equal 3, and at the end of the project life they are going to sell the land for 2 million, the building for 3 million, the equipment for 3 million, and this is the net cash flow of the project. We can calculate this net cash flow from the information given here. Minus 1.5, minus 4, minus 19, 6 million, 8 million, 13, 18, 14 million, and 16 million dollars. Now, this is the cash flow diagram. As you can see, we have expenses and we have inflow. We have cash outflow at years 0, 1, and 2, and cash inflow from year 3 to year 8. We can solve this question or this problem in different ways. We can bring those transactions, all of this cash flow to the present value, find the present value of this, and then convert the present value to a future value at n equal 3. Or we can find the future value of this part at n equal 3 and the present value of this part at n equal 3. And the total future value, or V3, is equal to V1 plus V2. So the present worth at 15%, for the complete cash flow, we are going to calculate the present value of this cash flow, okay, and then convert it to a future value at n equal 3, is minus 1.5, all of the values in millions. Minus 4, calculate B given F for one interest period. 19 million, calculate B given F at 15% for two interest periods. 6 million, we are going to discount it for 3 interest periods, the 8 million for 3 periods, 13 million for 5 periods, 18 million for 6 periods, and 14 million we are going to discount it for 7 periods, 16 million we are going to discount it for 8 periods. So the present value is going to be 13.91 million dollars. The future value, we can convert it to a future value to the beginning of year 3. Beginning of year 3 means the end of year 2, which is going to be 18.4 million. So the future value of this project when the production starts is $18.4 million. And since it is positive, the project is acceptable. The other way is by finding the present value, the future value of the cash outflow at n equal 2, and find the present value of the cash inflow at n equal 2. Cash flow prior to year 2, the future value is minus 15, calculate F given B at 15% and 2 years, minus 4, calculate F given B at 15% and 1 year, minus $19 million. The answer is 25. And for the cash flow after n equal 2, we can calculate this value. Actually, this is not the future value. Okay, we can keep it. And the future value of the project at n equal 3 is the minus 25 million, okay? And now we can discount the remaining transactions. But now it's going 6 million for one interest period. The 8 million is for two interest periods. The other 8 million is, this is repeated, okay? The 13 million for 3 interest periods, the 18 million for 4 interest periods, and the 14 million for 5 interest periods, and the 16 million for 6 interest periods, and we will get the same answer, which is $18.4 million. Okay, and we finish this lecture, inshallah, and we will continue with this chapter in the coming lectures, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum.